Good evening, everybody.
What's up?
I really appreciate you guys taking time out to give me this opportunity to speak to you guys. I mean, obviously, my undergrad and current Phi Psi experience means the world to me, and I attribute both in my personal and my career a lot of things to my experiences within Phi Kappa Psi. So this is a real honor for me. So thank you. I listened to everybody else present, and there's been a lot of great themes, and so, you know, a lot of things I wanted to talk about, other people have covered, so I've really been trying to think about what I want to share with you guys that hasn't been covered yet, and the theme that you're going to hear from me throughout this discussion, and I mean that I want this to be a discussion, so if anybody has a question at any time, please, you know, stop me and ask the question. Don't just wait till I'm done speaking. But the theme that you're going to hear is know yourself, and that the sooner you know yourself and the sooner you understand your own strengths and weaknesses, the sooner you're going to find your passion, the sooner you're going to find happiness, and success is going to follow. And so for me, a lot of this happened as an undergrad and shortly after I graduated college. So I want to take you guys back to the fall of 1997 when I pledged PC 18, and the chapter was in rebuild mode. And so I was part of a 12-person pledge class. I was on e-board pretty much the first week after we got initiated. And the chapter was 20 or 21 guys, and really proud of what we accomplished. I mean, by the time I had graduated, as a chapter, we had won the President's Cup. We brought housing to campus. I think we had a membership pushing 40, and 5 years later, you know, we won the Grand Chapter. So it was really exciting, stressful, all those types of things to be going through school and to be helping to reinvigorate the chapter. And a lot of my experiences came from those challenges. And so I have a unique position because right now I'm also the chapter advisor for the University of Akron Colony. And I'm proud to say that 3 years after we started this, we're now going to be chartered over Founders Day on February 21st. So I really, while I may not relate to what you guys are going through because you guys are well established and very successful, I do relate to some of the challenges and some of the experiences that it means to be 18 to 21 these days. And I'll tell you, it's a hard time to be an undergrad, but it's also an exciting time to be an undergrad. And this era of social media has so much more potential for you guys, and also so much more harm for you. And I'm not going to talk too much about social media. I mean, I'm by no means an expert, but the one bit of advice I would say is that history and that past stays with you forever. And as a hiring manager, one of the first things I look, no matter how old the person is who I'm interviewing, is I look at their social media history, and you know, that can rule you out pretty quick if there's some suspect things there. So we won't talk about that, but make sure you guys clean that up and take care of that. You know, so I think knowing yourself starts with the things you do in the chapter. You know, for those of you involved in sports in high school, those challenges, I mean, that help show you who you are. You know, are you the guy who thrives in the moment of competition, or are you the guy who's more of a behind-the-scenes type of person? And that stems in through the chapter. You know, are you out there on the forefront, or are you a support person within the chapter? You know, are you pushing the boundaries, or are you sort of keeping the status quo going? And there's nothing wrong with any role. It's just knowing yourself and knowing where your strengths and weaknesses are. And what I'm about to say may sound funny or it may sound really weird to you guys, but for me, it was very important, and I learned this pretty early, was that I'm a great number two. I'm not the number one. I would like to be a president someday, but I want to be a president of a division. I want to be a president of a business unit. I'm not sure that I want to be the top guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, believe me, you can make a very successful living being a number two. And, by figuring that out within myself and figuring out that I'm a leader within a support function, really helped me be more happy in my career, helped me be more successful in my career, and I think it's going to play out a little bit when I go through my resume with you guys. So I was a printing and management and sciences major, and I had originally started with newspaper operations and management, but you guys know where newspapers go. I don't know if any of you read a newspaper. So I quickly saw the writing on the wall and switched to printing management and sciences. And when I graduated, I went to work for a company called Solutions, and they were a manufacturing company, but they made wall covering. So they were using gravure printing to make the wall covering. And I had the awesome opportunity to start as a first year participant in their operations leadership program. And so what I got to do, and I think you've heard some other presentations, with Minolta and some other companies, but I got to do 6-month rotations within a few different areas of the company. And I really learned what each area was about and what I liked and what I didn't like. And I think most importantly about that experience was I got to, in a matter of a couple of days' time, I was on the shop floor, dealing with the operators and dealing with the challenges there, and also in the CEO's office presenting and dealing with the challenges there. So it was a great opportunity for me to see every aspect of the business. And then one of my rotations, I had the privilege of going over to Thailand for 6 months, and that was a ton of fun. And then after that, Omnova instituted a Lean Six Sigma program, and I was able to get a Lean Six Sigma black belt from them. And at that point, it's really where I realized what I wanted to be doing. And I wanted to be doing I knew I wanted to be running business unit, but the closest way to get there at my level was to be a product manager. And it was really exciting to be a product manager because even though you're a sole contributor or maybe you have 1 or 2 direct reports, you're really touching every aspect. You're for the most part, you're managing a business. And it was a lot of fun. I got to do the strategy part, the execution part. I sank or swim with the successes. And so I worked my way up, and then I got to a point where I had a difficult relationship with the person who I was working with, and I realized that at Omnova that Omnova was a pretty steady company. It was never going to be any better or any worse than it was, and I had good success there, but I wasn't going to be able to really make a dent or go to the next level and challenge myself. So I switched gears and I went to work for a company called Red Outdoor Living, and I worked my way up to be a director of product marketing and had a $150 million business portfolio and all the things that came with that. And then about 2012, my wife Bridget was pregnant with our daughter. It was going to be our first child, and I wanted to make a change. And so, ironically, I went into a sales role, which ended up being more travel, but it was a really good change for me. I saw a different side of business, and unfortunately, due to some mergers, I found myself on the wrong end of a package. And so then I joined up with Russell Equipment, and today I'm executive vice president there, and I basically run everything but sales. So it's a fantastic experience. What I see now, and keep in mind, guys, I'm a number two to a private business owner, a successful private business owner, and what I see, the things that I have to do on a daily basis are all present and played out in chapter operations. So, for example, in dealing with the Akron colony, actually just last night and today, I was on some conference calls with them because they have to expel a brother, and he's not going to get initiated in part of chartering because of grades. So we looked at bylaws, and we looked at how do we do this and all those processes. And, I'm sitting here going through this, and, we just had to let a salesperson go a few weeks ago, and it was the same exact process. We had to look at what our commitments to them, what the laws were, how do we do this compassionately, with all keeping the best interest of the company at heart. And, I could just go on and on with the similarities between operations in a company, between operations in a chapter. And then bring that into student government, bring that into IFC, bring that into whatever organization you're also involved in. Things that I look back on, like leading the initiative to bring green housing to RIT. I mean, I was constantly in front of Dr. Waters and Dr. Simone, who was the president and the vice president of finance at RIT, trying to figure out how this was going to work. And, while I wasn't responsible for the business model, I was the student representative for the business model. And could this be sustainable? Was this profitable? And, again, that's the same thing I did as a product manager, presenting to my CEO and my superiors on taking a product line and making changes to it, and what's the ROI over 2 years, and how does that work? And all of that played out in our undergraduate experiences. So what I want to leave you guys with, and we'll open it up here to questions soon, is the more involved you are in your undergraduate level, the better prepared you're going to be for after graduation. And that will show on a resume, and it will show in how you present yourself and how you ask and answer questions. And I think the more involved you are at the undergrad level, inevitably you will stand out from a crowd of people. You just have to, because you've been in those experiences before. You're not going to go in and be really nervous talking to a major VP or a big wig at an organization because you've had those experiences. And you can relate them. And I think as the chapter is more established and more successful, like you guys are now, it may be more maintaining and less entrepreneurial type things. So I would encourage you to also get involved in other organizations. The things going on in student government right now with healthcare, with rules and regulations, all of those things are directly related to what you're going to do once you graduate and as you move up the ladder. So, that's sort of the words of wisdom that I wanted to instill upon you guys, and a little bit about my career and my background. And, I believe firmly that this is more about you guys and less about me here. So I'd like to open it up to questions and see how I can help you guys.
You mentioned making a switch to project management. How exactly did you make that?
Well, I was very fortunate that as part of the operations leadership program, I had to, and the company had to give me a full-time job. So it was an ongoing conversation. But what I've found is it's a lot about raising your hand. And the more confident you are in the career path you want to take within an organization, the more confident that organization is going to be in allowing you to do that career path. So oftentimes, the phrase, you can't dance unless you're on the dance floor. It's a lot of that. It's about raising your hand, and that's how I got to go to Thailand. That wasn't part of the rotation, but I raised my hand and said, hey, I can do the same thing in Thailand, and I'd like to get that experience. Are you willing to send me there? And they were like, sure. Not every organization will allow you to do this type of stuff, but if you're at the right company, just raising your hand and being confident will get you a long way.
As a small chapter, what were the biggest issues that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
I think the biggest issues were that we were divided in age. So the 8 guys who were part of the group that we joined were, because I think we had a 2-year or a 1-year moratorium on recruiting. They were seniors or 5th-year seniors, and we were freshmen. So the challenges that we faced were putting the chapter ahead of ourselves. And it probably took us 2 or 3 semesters to really learn about putting the needs of the chapter ahead of the needs of ourselves. And that was in every aspect, from what we did socially to, doing the unfun parts of being a chapter. But I know you guys want to hear from me, but Rob, you were an integral, Rob Parada, you were an integral part of that as being our advisor. I mean, what did you see that our biggest challenges were at that time?
Well, Adam, you got initiated in fall of '97, and I think I was just coming on as chapter advisor at that time. So the issues that had happened to the chapter kind of took place before I returned to town, because that was the year I actually came back to Rochester. But what I remember were that we still had, in the chapter leadership, a good nucleus of guys that were familiar with how we did things when the chapter was running well. So I can point to some of the chapter presidents that we had at that time. And what it took was a really strong, dedicated core of the chapter to really pull us through those lean years. And it took everything from rebuilding on recruitment, which was a really big thing, to making sure that we had a solid risk management plan in place, to making sure that we began to reach back out on campus. Now, Adam's a great example of that. There was a period of time where it was very hard to encourage the brotherhood to step beyond the chapter and to get involved in the stuff that was going on in the rest of campus. And we found that once we did that, that really opened up a lot of opportunities for our brothers, and it also got us a better reputation on campus. I think it built up our relationship with the Greek Affairs office, and it really helped us to pull through that lean period. We also, at that time, got our local alumni base better organized, and we started a housing corporation, the RTC, that's the origin of it, and we also started thinking about things like just doing social events that had more of an alumni-centric nature to them. We weren't as organized as we are now, but that was kind of the beginnings of it. So it took both the undergraduates and the alumni base working together to really help us pull out of that I'll just keep calling it the lean period.
Well said.
Adam, I wanted to see if you might want to share a couple words about how we got connected with ALA and Cabo, because that happened about the time that you were on campus and maybe after you became an alumnus after 1 or 2 years.
Yeah. Are you guys still going to ALA?
Yes, we are.
Well, I can tell you it's a lot different now than when I had the privilege of going, and it's probably a little bit safer now than when I had the privilege of going. But we got connected with it through, really through Jerry Nelson and reaching out with Jerry, and I think we had heard about it. Tom Pennington, I think, was pretty involved, and Sean Collinsworth was just coming on to the national scene, and we sort of had a great relationship with Jerry, and that experience, and I'm glad you brought it up, because that experience was pivotal. I remember, I think we had the CFO of American Express at one of the years I was there, And, I watched him and I watched Jerry, and these are guys that are successful beyond most of our wildest dreams. And what I realized, was the play hard mentality, both in business and in personal life, and you can do both. And it was a really, really good experience for us, and I think it helped seal the chapter as well. I mean, when you're a group of 20 guys and half of you are going on spring break together and bonding like that, there's not a lot of events that can bring everyone together, both educationally as well as socially, like ALA did, and that was just some great experiences.
Looking back at your career, what can you say that you're happiest about in a business sense, in a social sense? In a personal sense, sorry.
In a business sense, I would say the thing I'm actually the most happy about is actually a failure, believe it or not. It's the vinyl tool liner business at Alumni Solutions, and I was, like I told you guys, I raised my hand and I wanted to be a product manager, and they didn't really have an opening for me. So what they said was, hey, we used to make this product. Can you revitalize it for us? And if you win, great. And if not, you're going to learn a lot. And so I was very entrepreneurial, and it was so much fun. I mean, they gave me designers. I mean, they allowed me to put business plans together, to put marketing plans together. And at the end of the day, we had some technical difficulties with the product, and we needed to stop it and do a reboot. But I'm most proud of that because it was really taking nothing and building it into something. And it's not by any means a large part of Alumno's business today, but I think they're actually still doing the vinyl pool liner business. So that's what I'm most proud of. Personally, what I'm most proud of in my career is the friends I've been able to make through business. Because, guys, as much as we want to make money and stuff, at the end of the day, we work to live. We don't live to work. And, being able to be a part of an organization that I'm at currently where, we can put the employee first, and, we can treat everybody as human beings, and therefore you get friends. And that means the world to me that, you can have people that come to work that are happy, and they're not just punching a time card.
Right now, RIT is in necessity of having an expansion to Greek housing. What were the major accomplishments that you had while you were getting the 6 houses on campus now? And what led to the breakthrough in getting this all set up?
Well, when I was an undergrad, I thought it was all me. But now that looking back, I realized that, I probably had a very small part into it. But, what you got to remember about a university is that it's a company in and of itself. And its mission is to teach and to grow and to be a leader within the industries and the sectors that it chooses. But at the end of the day, it has to sustain itself financially. And if you statistically look at the Greek community, their alumni give proportionally more back to schools because they traditionally have a better experience in schools. The retention rate is higher amongst Greek organizations. So what I know now, looking back, was that it not only was it in the best interest of socially of the RIT community to have Greek housing, but financially it was also in the best interest of the school. And what I would say is that vein becomes very attractive, where where you say, hey, not only can I improve the social experience and the overall undergrad experience at a university, but I can make a bet and make an expansion in a financially viable or potentially financially viable alumni base. It really resonates with multiple levels of the organization and the university. It resonates with the financial side, and it resonates with the experience side. So, I think it'll take two things to do that on campus. It'll take a motivated Greek community with a strong Greek leader that's willing to represent the community, and that also has the ability to represent the community, and keep everybody in line and make sure they're motivated. But also it's going to take someone on the university side who's equally motivated for all of the right reasons. And once those two people emerge, then it should be pretty natural to expand or rebuild or do whatever's necessary for campus.
That was a great question to end on. For the guys that live in the chapter house, you may from time to time wander into the lobby bathroom there. And at one point, after Adam had graduated, we wanted to recognize his accomplishments for helping us get the house. And this kind of fits in with his career goal of being number 2. We actually put a plaque in the restroom there that was commemorative to Adam Copel. I think we named it the Adam Copel Memorial Bathroom or something to that effect. I'm not sure if that plaque's still there, but it was really a big deal for us. And tongue-in-cheek, we really appreciated all the help that he gave to get us into the chapter house. So, Adam, thank you again for joining us tonight.